Name and your institutions when you're asking questions. Any questions? Or for everyone to ask questions. It's very
No, okay, tell me.
I'm Sudarno from C4. Thanks for the presentation. Just wondering, did you look at the impact of these interventions on conflict in the villages? Because one of the issues you mentioned is that villages distribute to non-beneficiaries because they want to avoid conflict. Now we take that away from them. Did that actually improve result in conflict or not? I also can I ask another one?
Yes.
I have a question about your results in slide 18. So, if you look at that, there are ineligible households that receive the card. And my question is, why don't they buy as much rice as the eligible households with cards? Because when they have cards, then they're eligible to buy 15 kilos, for example. Why did they only buy much less? Ineligible households already receiving the card. Thanks.
Thank you, Daniel. That's a very good question. The first one is on the conflict. Actually, we didn't find an increase in conflict. In some cases, we even found that people are more satisfied, especially the beneficiaries with the card. And the question is, why is that taking away, from the past experience of distributing equally didn't instigate conflict? I think the reason is because of this. I think that was a very good question. Okay, here is the Daniel's question. Very good. Yeah, this one. So this indicates that there is no difference between card and control of the non-recipient having ineligible having card, indicating that actually the supply of rice to the village increased. So the missing rice, that this has been, many studies shows that the missing rice is close to 30%, 25%. So that's why it did not, instigated conflict in the village, even though, this, because the people who are not eligible are not receiving rice actually in the right hand side. The question, why didn't buy more? Well, this is a good question, the local quality. I didn't know the answer. Maybe this is, if you look at the theoretical setup about this paper, actually, they would like to protest or they would like to, do something unless if the cost actually less than the benefit they are entitled. Because they do probably, there is also quota within the village. You can also buy this one, you cannot buy more. Number one, you're not eligible anyway, but I still giving it to you because of, I would like to reduce conflict. So again, I think the fact that the beneficiaries receive more by about 20%, while the non-beneficiaries receive the same, indicating that actually, there's still less. There's still less. Sorry, supply price of the village is supposed to be 10 tons. For 15 years, procreates only 7 tons. Now you have to have more, 7.5, for example. I think that's the way how I figure it out.
questions?
Yeah.
Hi, my name is Carla Ebert, TMP2K. I have a very practical question. What about the poor that don't have addresses? That don't have addresses? Like,
Yeah, okay. Yeah. That's another good question. We have to blame Ipoh and amati, and this is a very difficult question actually. Every time we discuss with people from wherever they are, we call it the RT 0, RW 0, RT 0, RW 0. We have addressed people living under the bridges, but what percent do you know, Pak Priyadi? What is the C1 of the census? We didn't give card to them because our basis of data collection is establishment. You have to live there in the last 6 months. And those people are actually moving around. Even if you like to find those people, you have to start going to field at about 11 in the evening, 11 in the night. So I think that's the issue that we need to address in the future. The government, this is not big, but still there are people, and maybe it's only about 700,000 nationally, or even less. But that's a good question. And that should be, the Ministry of Social Welfare should have addressed those people. But we don't have that in this database.
We invite another questions.
I want to ask for clarification on the bidding treatment. It happens at the same time as KPS, so it's also the time when there's more rise, like after the fuel subsidy reduction, there was also like a doubling of the quota for each beneficiary, I think, if I'm not mistaken. So could that be a reason for the fact that there was no real effect, the fact that there was all these other policies that was happening at the same time? And my second question is also on the bidding. Could it be that within communities there's the idea that assistance from the government should sort of be shared? So you give a part, you give more powers to beneficiaries to demand for more for their rights, basically. But for the bidding, it's maybe considered that increasing the price, charging a higher price by the village head, is a way of giving back or sharing to other people that don't get it, which would explain
The second one is that's a good assumption. That's what we found in some places, at least from the discussion. I think we remember from when we were in Nusa Tenggara Barat, they were also thinking about exactly that, by charging. That's why status quo is really just part of the setting thing. Actually, this is a very collegial, very informal one, and then there's some process where there's some bidding in and out process, but I think maybe that's also one of the reasons, but I don't know the detail of how much that one. The first one is about that. Actually, we have thought about that one also, and because this is, the bidding was done after the car being introduced, right? So it's not the same time. At that time, we were also confused, so we continued doing the bidding one because of additional allotment. How should we? But at least in theory, it still have, because the baseline is the same, it still have increased. If you would like, we try to isolate this, card thing. We just want to make sure that, basically, giving outside the bid is going to deliver rice as it is, but turn out to be not. If you look at the very level data from our end-line of the bidding. But I think we'll figure out about that. So I don't know exactly the answer about that question. It's very difficult. Yes, Pak Asep.
Thank you for a very interesting and important presentation, Sudarno. My name is Asep Suryahadi from SMERU. I have 2 questions. The first one is related to your sample. Your villages located in 6 districts in 3 provinces. What do this sample represent? Are you confident enough to say that you are talking about Indonesia? My second question is not directly related to the presentation, but I always think Raskin as a crisis program. Other countries have similar programs like Mexico with their unstable food. In Argentina, they have similar program for peace. But the other countries, when the crisis was over, they stopped the program. But in Indonesia, long after the crisis, we still maintain the program. Why do we have to do that? Why didn't we just stop after the crisis? Thank you.
Thank you, Basir. Very interesting question. The second one, the answer is simple, because I'm nobody. I cannot stop Raskin. but I agree with you, I think, you know, Hastati and her team, SMERU, working with KPK has been trying to, you know, but you remember every time I'm with the head of Bulog in the workshop in seminar, she sit next to me always saying that, well, but Raskin is not only about social system, but it's also price stabilization. I didn't buy that because there's no evidence about Raskin being price stabilization. OPK, yes, but Raskin is not. At the same time, even this, you know, the one that I mentioned about that meeting on April 2012 was actually head of Bulog was there, and then Pak Agung Laksono was there. Only 2 ministers, Pak Sudarno, myself, Pak Bambang Pasyo. We talked about this reform, and Ichan was there, and Mama Tiksan is always saying, why don't he doesn't want to, you know, kill Raskin because it has many functions in it, you know. I don't know what functions it's called. Bulog has a lot of people working in it. So it's a political decision. But you know, we've been trying very hard to improve this Raskin in the art accommodation. We try to improve the 60s, kualitas, blah, blah, blah. Administration, it didn't work. It's very difficult. And, you know, it's not unique to Indonesia. If you look at what happened in India, the same thing with the public distribution system, PDS, they even use car, they have all. So that's why in our last slide, Basir, we were thinking about using a coupon and let this local market provide a price and then we can buy from that local market. That was our idea based on, because of the difficulty in make, you know, even though we have tried a lot of this one. You know, like, you know, the bidding process, blah, 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 bidding at the district, and also think more about the, I don't have it here, I have it somewhere else. Actually, we also thinking about using coupon, and then the supplier can be toko kecil, toko agak besar, and something like that. And the first question that, no, it's not representative. We did not claim this is Indonesia, only 3 provinces, right? And we did not stick with that one. But we try as much as possible to mimic the heterogeneity of Indonesia by having Java, represented, Lampung and Sumatera, but of course you can bring about these ones. So our calculation is based on that. It's not Indonesia. I think it's very difficult to do an RCPs that can be, that you can claim this is Indonesia, but that's maximum. So if you do some studies like Susana style, things like that, but turn out to be working with the card, turn out to be okay. You know, small conflict. If you recall what happened with the KPS introduction, it's not as bad as what happened in 2005, 2008, 2009. It went very slow. People went to the post offices week afterward, we delivered card 96%, 93% KPC. They went to the post office. That conflict, exclusion error, yes, how did we improve? We use this at Musdes Musuh. That's the creation of my colleague who are here, Riyadi, Ibu Hari. of having this leeway of having local to decide that this freebie is actually really poor. She's not English, English in the car. How should we bring her in? That's just community design. So that's our effort to improve targeting. Targeting is the most difficult undertaking globally everywhere in the world. So we have to keep investing our knowledge how to do it better. You know, if you look at what happened with the targeting experiment last time done by Alatas and the team, turn out that if you are going to cover only the small program, the community did well. But if this is about program that cover about 30%, actually PMT is the best method. You know, remember we wrote paper together with Daniel. It's now in Encyclopedia, not Britannica. What encyclopedia? That was okay. It's very expensive, you know. So we wrote a paper together, three of us. It's an encyclopedia or something about PMT. Itu Pak Chef. Thank you. Silakan yang lain. Oh yes.
I would like to hear more from you, Pa, and also from Ibu about the enhanced visualization and how it can be rolled out.
How can you help them, Marco? All right, please begin. I'm not sure. So enhance, how can we roll out enhanced socialization national? Is that possible? Roll it out.
Sorry, yeah, thank you, Adela. Sorry, first of all, my name is Sumanto from FKP. Question about enhanced socialization. I think actually the enhanced socialization activities that we did during the studies is not really what you call result exhausting. Yeah. So in the sense that for instance in Raskin, what we did is what we did is just sending a beneficiary list, multiply it and making sure that it was posted in many places, list of beneficiaries, and also small, very simple socialization poster, not very wordy, just remember to buy your Raskin, say something that very catchy but very simple words, and making sure it also put in various places. And also I think one of the key factors is utilizing the community activities, like using the community meeting or even religious places. And I think that kind of activities is not really something that's very difficult to be done, especially with the feature with the desa, the village law, and etc., which will be put more emphasize on the community development at the level. So as long as we can provide them with some few script and also few sample and also few simple SOP and how to do what comes done, I don't think that will be an issue for rolling it out to any policy.
Next questions? If there is any, I would like to ask questions to Sudarno. He said that the Raskin card was scaled up for as the social protection card.
Yeah.
So it's such a more like a lesson learned from the Raskin card, and then you scale it up. In terms of the socialization, actually, which types of intervention that then replicate in the cartoon criminal society?
That's another good question. Yes, I think, and then my boss at the end, became very confident. He went straight to the vice president and reported that it can't really work, so we have to use this for national program. But there are a lot that people have done it better. This is just our compassion with people and reality and in terms of the preparation, in terms of the better socialization, you know. That's where the take-up rate for the PSM scores going to be very low at the beginning because of lack of socialization. Even in some places, the household didn't know that actually the card is also, the card holders are also entitled not only PLSM but also Raskin and also PLSM. So that's what we didn't do well actually. That's why I was complaining about the Ministry of Communication that should have help at least speak about this one. So it's but it's also progress blocked by local. We don't know what it is. In terms of that, really telling you, Frank, we didn't do that. We didn't do, even though the evidence shows that enhanced socialization gave the most impact in reducing leakage, but we didn't use that enhanced socialization. So clean socialization, do you have the tape on? Actually, I have the tape in my computer, but the tape just says ini kartu untuk orang miskin, blah blah blah, something like that, yeah. You know, card holder can also, you know, buy rice of 15 kilo at 16. You can also, you know, go to school and bring your, you know, to get your scholarship for your kid, and you can also go to the post office to pick up the money. That was the first innovation that we done. We tried that. You know, when I was the director of SMERU with PAS in 2005, we only have 3 months to collect data. It's no card, no nothing, just coupon. Dikirim Pak Rusman ke rumah dan sekolah. But now if you like to use this card, again, you still have that. And of course there are some issues about exclusion in SMERU, but you have to correct that one because theoretically people move in and out of property anyway. So you have to put in place the treatment and repair system. That's what we need to build. You know, not reinventing the wheel, doing something else or how to do it. But exactly, that was the idea. Enhanced socialization should have been the, you know, introduced, but we don't have enough resources at that time. I think resources was another issue. We don't have enough money. We don't want the donors or outside help government to socialize government program. That's not nice, right? So, and we have 1,000 something trillion budget. We should have used that up for your national program because politics was essentially. Set up with my colleague from the NPS question because I never presented this at the NP.
Yeah.
Thank
you, Pak Tatma.
Yeah.
Thank you for the high quality presentation.
That's where Adama came.
My name is Nohari from the NP Turki. Sorry, Pak. I'm just wondering about your the way how you find the treatment and control of growth. Because based on Susan's data, we know that all ratio in the income distribution ratio Raskin. So maybe the result of this study is not really significant because of the ineligible beneficiaries come from maybe decile 3 or decile 4. If we try to differentiate the beneficiaries from these families will be significant. Thank you.
Very good, Pak Tohari. That's another good question. So the question is basically, you know, this is not a, of course we lump together household in the village, so actually the unit of analysis is a village across village. So we already show you, Pak Tohari, that about the beneficiaries alone is the one who is on the list based on our unified database. And the rest are those are people who are not supposed to be eligible. Actually, your concern has been taken into consideration in our analytics. That the impact is again attributed by the introduction of card only, and that's where we distinguish between, you know, month-on-month subsidy between the control and the card of the ineligible is also there. These people and ineligibles are probably way on the maybe 3rd, 4th, 5th decile. And if you look at this, basically it's only those eligible. Suppose that our card is UTP is correct. So that's actually well taken into account. Yes.
Okay, thank you. My name is Hafiz. I'm from SMERU. I have 2 questions. First is, You said that this study doesn't represent Indonesia. I was wondering, what if we applied the theme in at national level? Is it produce same result or not? For the second question is, what is the role of Raskin in addressing food security issues in Indonesia?
What is the role of what, sorry?
Raskin in addressing food security issues. Okay.
So that the second one is our project with the VIP. You have to provide me with the answer. That's tough. That's a tough question. The second one is actually also for, Ibu Andi, how we've been working so hard for the last couple of months with Pak Kuntoro and the President on, addressing stunting. And one of the reasons is stunting is not falling for the last 4 years, and we would like to find out, what kind of policy innovation that we can introduce to reduce our stunting. So having present is about what is the role of Raskin for food security. Even though in our report, because WIP is a bit biased about providing food, but if you ask me, actually I would like to reduce the Raskin distribution. I do not believe that Raskin can be a substitute for, calorie intake and that stuff. I think we have to do some innovation. For example, you can continue using Raskin whether with or without fortified only in areas where there are lack of supply. Let's say in Nusa Tenggara Timur or somewhere there it price, but because if you give cash, it's going to push up the price because supply limited. But in areas where supply are unlimited, like in Java or like in Sumatra, the rice producer, probably voucher or cash or money will be more efficient. That's my thinking about. So if you just across the board, Raskin will be the panacea for addressing stunting. I did not buy that one. So let's just think about it, when we talk with them next time. I know that's a big price, but we have to be very objective in understanding the mechanical things. The first question is, what if you have to give me 1 million to answer your question. That's it. I cannot answer. Because this question is what if this is, you did nationally and somewhere else, I don't know, But the counterfactual is that can't work whether in the area or in other areas. So it means that your innovation of what you are doing is actually proven to be, you don't need to be nationally representative to do an RCP. There is no RCPs everywhere in the world that can be nationally representative. Some people just doing in small areas, because this idea came from the medical science, where people are making a treatment about some disease or some treatment for a disease. So this is not like a Susmas type or something like that. It's a very intensive and it's a very complicated undertaking. So I think the key is that before you decide whether you would like to do an RCP or not, first you have to ask the question of yourself, is this $1 million question, or this is just, even if you do this, you can make it like no-brainer or something, don't do RCP, that's too expensive. Because of that. So we are not talking about representativeness here, we're talking about some ideas that can be tested, that most likely is going to work. Whether it's because, it's not very, radical, this is something that we already know.
Hi, I'm from CIPG. I understand that this card is only a trial. Just wondering whether the positive result, are you going to push it as a policy, or are you going to recommend this further for this to be implemented across Indonesia, or what's your plan for after this? Thanks.
Thank you, Mbak. So actually we already presented directly after the result to the Vice President about, card work, but bidding didn't work well. So we have to stick with the existing one because it came from him. I remember exactly what he said. Coba dipikirkan ya, apakah seandainya beras ini yang mengantarkan itu bukan aparat dari titik distribusi, apakah akan menambah manfaat ya? Because he is aware, he's well aware about SMERU's report, about Bagito, about Bagirata, things like that. So basically that's a policy relevance. So the next step is, of course, we would like to socialize it, introduce this, and we'll write a paper, and we wrote the paper already. It's been presented somewhere in the academic circle, because we have to theorize this one. We still do not know how to theorize this one. We have a model, but still very shaky. Is this about bargaining or about something, we can just do some mathematics about it, but at the end it's about, your theory has to be confirmed with the evidence, so sometimes it's very difficult. And it takes time, writing paper of this thing will take about years and years, 2-3 years before it will come out. So that's why working in academic and research can be very difficult. So I want you to be aware about that. Well, yeah, really is going to Australia not very long, so we will face that kind of challenge in the future. Yeah, so yes, I will ask we talk with the government, we talk with the Bulog and Menko Kestra, we tell them about this one. There are so many questions, interesting questions actually. Well, we already know that we have a toko di Jogja ya, Bung ya, similar about bidding ya. Actually people can bid and things like that, but I don't know if that's really what happened. And Daniel, here is my question actually. Why is this happening with the bidding one? I'm still very puzzled. Why it didn't work? Is it because of what? Is it because of this is a standard economic theory. Competition is going to be good because it's a handsome money. The markup is about 25%, right? And it costs you tiny. Just sewa ojek sehari, you can complete it in the village. Why not, status quo win? Maybe you can help me. Why it didn't work? What is the theory behind this? He said he will tell me. Maybe Pastor can help me. Why? Yeah, that's one possibility. Yeah. Is there any cases, Pung, that actually the potential bidder was threatened by official or official? If you try to bid much smaller price, some things will happen to your family, something like that. Is that happening? Maybe you can share with us. This is interesting story.
Okay. Sorry. First of all, maybe I still have also my own reservation regarding the second about the bidding. First is that one, we selected the bidders. After we have the policy meeting to select the bidders, the bidder was then left alone. So we basically didn't facilitate further during the first few months about how they should do the village distribution at the village level and etc. So we only have like one person standing by if there's any case for need for more information or for advice needed. If the bidder needs some kind of advice or some kind of input from our facilitator. So my first suspicion is that if we put more put on the ground for like the first 3 months or the first 6 months, there's a possibility that we could find a different result. That's my initial suspicion. However, but then again, another issue with the fact is that the price tend to be relatively the same using the bidder, using the existing the previous, we call it the status quo, or the new, the price is relatively the same. That means there's there's an issue with how the Raskin was distributed from the village to up to the household. So apparently there's an additional cost needed to distribute rice from the village to household. The Raskin general guidelines stipulate it should be covered by the local government budget. However, that was not the case. So that's why then the additional cost was incurred, and that it became an incentive and also an opportunity for whoever is distributing rice to then also being compensated for the extra work that has to be done with distributing rice from the village to the household. So I think that's one of the factors that also hinders why having distribution either by external party or by the school tend to be resulting the same in terms of the rice, the amount of in terms of the price. However, with the bidder, people are more open on complaining about, especially about the Raskin quality. So one thing that we are found always come up during the committee meeting on selecting the bidder is that the fact that they always mentioning that the quality of rice is very poor, and somehow it's better addressed by the outsiders, by the other external parties when they are distributing rice. That when it was distributed by the staff quo, there's a tendency for people not to make any reservation or any complaint. However, there's no evidence from us that there's a threat or any pressure or intimidation from the village leader or previous distributor to the new distributor to not to make a significant changes to the existing result of the previous distribution mechanism.
Yeah. Thank you, Bukya. So this is also related to Adama's point here. Why? Because majority of actually sounds good. Even if outside bidder actually still charging the same price, but they promise to do more. I know they're very excited like that. So yeah, some dari kabupaten ya, some of them bring kabupaten, some just from distribution point, meaning dia ingin mengambil dua sekalian dari kabupaten point. So we'll figure out, we'll find what try to resolve the more fair taxing. The result is out there, so we can change the story, right? But probably have to find out why it happened that way. Maybe, preparation is not enough. Maybe you need more higher authority to tell them. You have to, you have to be more present, something like that. Genuinely, because this is local politics, but we also have to verify trends, debate, but cincau ya. Cincau. Silakan Mas. Ya.
My name is Firman. I'm from Tabanan. So you mentioned that the data comes from the follow-up surveys. So my question is, the results came from the last survey or the combination of these two surveys? And is there any difference between the results from the first survey and the last survey?
That's another good question. I think this was also questioned by many when we run a regression. As I said from the beginning in the analytical plan, actually we multi-stacking between the first and the second. But basically, we didn't find any significant change and any significant differences between the 3-month and 6-month later. But there is a reduce a bit in the card here. Talking about the card because the bidding is only one. We did 6 months later and see the result. And we'll probably need to put some dummy for that in our equation. But that's a good question. Some people worry about the multi-staking. Multi-staking meaning that the result from the 3-month and 6-month stack together and then see the equation. But from I remember very well at that time. Actually, it didn't change that much between the two. So that's why we did this notice taking between the three. Yes.